haven't really pushed play on the stand-up for quite some time, but we're over here just like talking about all the different shit that we're shipping, and then might as well just record what we're working on and a little bit of our thought process behind some of these things. Everything is really kind of available for the world to use. So like, why not talk about it, and we can point people in the direction. We'll put stuff in the show notes. But dude, happy Friday. We've been building it a lot.
A lot of stuff that I think is useful and for clients and for ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I think we'll do a bunch of demos today.
Really the overall sentiment that you and I have really been landing on is like, there's no longer a barrier to entry to our creativity. Why am I paying for other SaaS products to do things that we could rebuild for ourselves in our own vision and in the way that we want to use them and run our own company? That's like the overall sentiment. Like, we've probably saved thousands, at least $2,000 or $3,000 a month in subscriptions and things that we've just killed over the last 6 months just because we've created our own stuff. And so this is kind of like the continuation. We're building stuff that we just want to see in the world. Whether it exists, I don't even know. I don't even care. Just want to build the thing in our likeness.
Yes.
Kind of the sentiment. It's the overall, we can build it. So why wouldn't we?
Right.
So why?
Well, there's things that are hard to build, like Riverside would be hard, to me.
Yeah,
it
sure.
would be hard. It would be a more annoying thing to build and maintain. But there are things that are not hard to build that, that I think people previously thought of as SaaS products and maybe paid a lot of money for them in the past. And it's like, that doesn't really need to be a SaaS product.
And like, regardless, like, I don't even care about it being a SaaS product. I just care that it functions the way that I need it to, and that I don't necessarily have a cost associated to it. I'm already paying for storage. We're already paying for the bare metal things that like you kind of need. It's already being paid for. So why not?
Well, the first thing that we're talking about, right, is Google Drive. I mean, so I'll give the use case that we have is we store all of our podcast episodes, all of our recordings in Google Drive. You have probably almost a terabyte of video. We'll probably just continue, we would continue paying Google for that. You can do this also through S3. In our case, I moved us to a new DAM in using Tigris for fly.io, which is pretty inexpensive stuff, but there's a lot of types of blob storage. Why though? What was the real problem was you have a Content Studio MCP. I'll give you kind of the problem statement. And you wanted Content Studio on an automation to be able to basically query any of our video and say, I want to make a post about this, and for it to do it and distribute it, and every single day to recycle our old content based on kind of a content schedule of like, hey, these are the 50 things I want to talk about. Somewhere in our video library, we talked about this with a guest, with each other. Right. So it involves needing a few things. First is you need Content Studio to have access to the videos, to be able to download them and redisseminate them. Google Drive does not allow something like that. Or in your experience, it does
for like file drop, but there's no intelligence behind it. Like, I want to be able to say like, hey, I've been having this conversation on clipping over 10 different episodes. Like, stitch me together a nice conversation from multiple episodes. You can't have that level of flexibility in Google Drive.
Well, and you need the transcripts. You need to have them indexable. The transcript needs to relate back to the piece of media. It needs to be queryable. So ultimately, and then of course you're paying for Google Drive storage over time. And I don't know what I forget what the pricing is, but the point was it's not super queryable in the way that we need it to be. And you want to be able to share. So like one of the things that I like is, hey, I wanted to be able to make a video public or private. So I wanted to be able to just be like, hey, here's the video, like give people, and it opens in the web browser for them. So I could turn a video to public. I also made it so I could temporarily turn a video public. Like, hey, here's the video, you can watch it, but then it cuts it out after 24 hours so that and that even works for documents too. So my other thought of that was like, if we ever had any documents or something where I'm like, hey, here's the link, make it public for 48 hours and then nix it. SOWs, things like that. So I don't need to invite somebody to a platform. They don't need to make an account on a platform, but then I don't also need to make it public and remember to turn it back to private. And I can instantly revoke access to that. So I built that system this week for us, and you're trying to upload some video. You want it to conform to your workflow. I think it's harder than you think it is. That's kind of the problem, because now you're talking about building. You want it to basically be able to drop a video on your desktop in a folder structure and have it upload to the DAM, which basically now you start talking about just rebuilding Dropbox and Google Drive, but you still have all the shortcomings because how do I associate the transcript? Are we going to start generating the transcripts? Riverside already made the transcript, so why waste the compute on that? Are you going to copy paste transcript? I support that, but I also really wish that we would upload an official transcript document that has timestamps and sentences, because that just gives our MCP even more intelligence to say, hey, you talked about it in this hour-long podcast. There's a slice between 34 minutes and 38 minutes that would be perfect for this post, and it's not in any of your shorts because Riverside's just doing that at random with its AI. So I'm gonna clip you a short from that. But to be able to do that, you need to have truly structured data around your content. And really right now, we don't have that ability. I wish Riverside had that ability, but there's some complexity to that too, because there's a lot of video that we haven't published. Maybe there's exports you didn't publish. And so this is like our way of being able to create this future for ourselves.
You know, the things that I kind of want are a little bit self-serving here at the beginning, which is like, we're talking about transferring a terabyte, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces of content. And so like for me, like there is like a self-serving initial start that I would like, which is to just kind of dump my entire Google Drive structure. Not like necessarily our documents or our customer facing stuff. I'm talking like purely for the content that we've created, but it's 10 years of content too. Like I wanted to go back to the archives, you know, of all the stuff that we created like literally a decade ago. I wanted to all be in there. To do that one at a time, even to scrub it seems so freaking daunting.
Well, it is daunting, because here's the other thing that I was trying to explain to you too, is you were like, no, I don't have all that content on my computer. I go, well, there's your problem, right? Because now I can't just upload it from your computer. If I start using the uploader in the web for content that's simply a link to a Google Drive that was offloaded from your computer, it will fail, because now Google Drive has to sync it down. That's subject to problems. So now you're going back a very long period of time. So what you're looking at is like,
and correct me if I'm wrong, if I do that too fast, like if I pull down from Google Drive too fast to have the file available on my local machine, I'm very quickly going to force my machine to shit.
Right. Well,
I don't have a terabyte on here.
You don't have a terabyte. Exactly.
No.
So I have about 4 terabytes on this machine. So here's the problem.
Like
your
518
machine,
or something like that.
That's is not geared for this type of workflow. The thing that you were asking for, and that's why I say I want to get back to the root solution too. This is like just good product development advice, is the root solution a Google Drive integration direct, where you authenticate and say, okay, now let's turn this drive, because now it's our server communicating with Google Drive and pulling the items direct. But I don't
it's
have
one
the transcripts.
It's also one time for me.
But
I don't need that to be happening consistently.
Well, it's a one-time. Listen, there's ways that we will figure out how to do it either way. There's a whole bunch of ways. But the other problem I have is I want the transcripts, and I would really like them to have the timestamps and be indexable. And we don't have that anywhere right now. You still have to go into Riverside and download those one by one.
Well, here's a question. Is it possible? There must be something open source out there where I can feed it an MP4 and it can third-party create a transcript.
Well, it doesn't even have to be open source. We can go and do that. But we can build that. I don't think that's going to be, again, with AI, that's a very known problem space. This is like an example of something that, right, there might be an open source thing that does it. If you had to build it, yeah, it has to list, it'll run through the file. It'll pull all the timestamps out. It'll do, Riverside is doing that in the background for you right now.
Because not for nothing. We have a ton of content over the years, shorts, short films, events, all sorts of things that I have the MP4, but there's zero way that I could possibly get the transcript except for a third party.
So here's the cool thing, right? The other cool thing about building your own damn system. If I had to build something that extracted that, the scale of it would be a little bit different, right? Let's just say we had thousands of customers the way Riverside does. Now I have to start thinking about, what if everybody does this all at once? They start uploading terabytes of data, and then now I start having to spin up additional machines to do this work, right? Doing it for my little business is not such a big deal. I could scale up the machine for a week. Let it churn through all our video, and then going forward, it'll always generate the transcript one by one. So this is one of those things where people sort of are like, yeah, but you don't want to have to maintain all that hardware and everything. I go, guys, you're not going to have Dropbox hardware for your business.
No.
You're going to have options where, like I just said, I'll scale the machine up to do this one-time thing, and I'll scale it down, or I'll set up a sidecar process that runs it. We'll get all the transcripts. So you're right. That might be the future.
I'm also separating the what does it take to get to zero and the new normal going forward. Like my new normal going forward is a little bit separate of a workflow, which is I currently am exporting and then downloading from Riverside to Google Drive. I'm in my Finder. I have an extension to Google Drive. I have a folder structure. I'm downloading from Riverside to basically my local machine. And then whenever that cycle happens, that it removes itself from my machine, goes up to the cloud. That's my current process. What I want to be able to do is I want to download directly from Riverside to our dam. No Google Drive.
Well,
I can abort
you kind
Google
of
Drive.
want that to happen without you even being in the mix. So like what I'd love, so this is what I was asking you. I don't know. I didn't look into the Riverside API.
We're going to look into it.
Yeah.
I have it here.
Because when you were talking about your workflow, I go, this still sounds unideal. What sounds ideal to me is whenever you make exports in Riverside, the dam will listen for that, grab it, pull it, and then it'll grab it'll get all that stuff out of Riverside. And then when you go to the dam, it'll just be there. And
now here's a question.
Yeah.
You were talking about how the dam is also making shorts. So do I even need Riverside to create shorts for us anymore? Or do I just need the raw MP4 and the transcript SRT file?
So I actually haven't built out the shorts. My goal was was once the transcript was there, I wanted to see about querying and then saying, whatever you're looking for, I'm going to cut you a short out of that. Riverside right now, I don't know. They have some kind of AI under the hood that probably reads this transcript and looks for key moments and turns it into
linear key moments.
It tends to find monologues that like biases towards moments when just one person is speaking for a long time. I've noticed that. So there's all sorts of stuff. What I think the MVP is you're going to stay in Riverside. Riverside's already exporting the shorts. All you need to do is create magic episode, create your exports. And I would love to just take the export with the transcript, pull it into our dam, and then it's there. And now our whole content studio, and even content studio, maybe in the future, we're not using that. Maybe we're just authenticating our social accounts direct in the dam. And this sort of turns into that posting machine.
Totally possible. Hey, that costs us about $1,000 a year. Not fucking nothing.
Not nothing.
Not nothing.
And I still have to re-authenticate. So it's not like they have these like privileged access to Facebook, because that was always the big thing. I think they're kind of making you log in the browser and storing the cookie. And then when it expires, they send you an email that you got to re-log into LinkedIn or whatever it is. And every 30 days.
Let's do this real quick. I could share my screen. We could just take a look just for freaking why not? I love Riverside. We're both real bullish on Riverside. So why not just share?
Yeah. I'm a big fan. But
so I just pulled up Python because I wanted to see, we were talking about like, is there an MCP? Is there an API? Can I just like extend off of Riverside? Because like I am now to the point where I am cutting an episode. I edit for all of our channels. I try to remove that from your privilege just for everybody else that knows how our process works. I now am shipping end to end in less time than it takes to freaking record. I'm the bottleneck, actually. Like my human waiting for shit to download, upload, my human clicking and copying and paste. That's the slow up.
And I think we can't, if I'm not mistaken, there's no way for us to upload to YouTube over API. It's that part you always have to manually do.
Well, no, like I can, something that we didn't do. Okay. Advice for anybody watching this and wants to make their own podcast. You can go one of two ways, which is the way that we went, which is you kind of store your own content on local machine. You own your own content. I can distribute that wherever I want to. For us, it's syndication across YouTube, Spotify, every other platform that streams, iHeartRadio, whatever. The other way is pick a tool, centralize around it, and you can do like a hosting function in some of these tools where like I can host my podcast and distribute to all these channels. The reason why we don't do that is because I have 3+ years of recording before this feature was ever available, and I can't go back. I can import an existing, which will just kind of like RSS the original, and then I can do it going forward.
So you can only start a new.
I'm creating a new podcast. I can import an existing podcast, but I'm pretty sure that this was like an RSS, right? RSS feed, which is not ideal for where we're at currently right now. But for somebody else, like, distribute straight from freaking Riverside. Like on day one, that's a really good workflow, is to stay all within Riverside. our workflow only uses Riverside for capture edit, and we distribute manually. I'm also at the point in our journey right now where I want to be able to distribute autonomously. I also want to be able to stitch together conversations from multiple guests, things that you and I talk about. What are our customers talking about? What's happening in the social media? What's happening in the news? I want to be able to create more conversation around the content that we're capturing.
Well, and this is just for whole episodes too. It doesn't handle shorts, Instagram, and that is a big part of running a podcast, is distributing the trailers, the shorts, all that stuff. So this will help you with your episodes, but that's about it. Okay.
So look, I wanted to compare some plans because as of right now, I believe we're on the Pro plan. Okay, we're on the Pro plan. Pro plan has gotten us super far. Not that I'm saying we should increase our spend, but when I get into these other tiers, Grow and Business, not Webinar, forget that. When I get into Grow, I start to see the MCP is available. Could be interesting. When I get into the
That's
business
exactly
tier,
what we were looking for, which is the find moments. It just said that.
When I get into the business tier, I can unlock the API.
So here's the other problem. You and I have two separate Riversides because you can't have two hosts.
Now I wonder.
So now you'd have to go to business tier on 2.
The question is though, if I increased to the business, do I get multiple rooms, private podcasts, host a private podcast?
No,
That's not what we're looking for. I mean,
we're looking for we're looking for multi-host, and
I don't know if they have that. 2 studios, twice the output. Maybe that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, that's not 2 studios. Maybe. No, I think we tried to upgrade this, and it wasn't what we were looking.
Yeah, because we have 2 separate hosts.
Maybe this is
not 2 studios. Anywho, we could figure that out, but they do have the MCP. It could allow us to do this, but I'm also just trying to figure out a way to kind of just do it in our own, to do it on our own.
You also know that the minute you have to, that business tier, let me just click on that for a second. Book you know that means bread.
Yeah, bread.
You know what I mean? Nobody puts book a demo because it's going to be affordable.
Yeah.
So it's...
Yeah, bread.
Sorry, Riverside. If you want more people to try this out, starting at $4,000 a month, not happening.
Right. Growth potential. Anywho, right? Like one of the things that I wanted to say, I'll just pull up a project. One of the things that I really wanted to do, a little bit of a workflow. I'll go into my Jerry Ballantine recording. When I am downloading from my export folder, this is something that I was envisioning, like, how can I just make this process a little bit better? Because for me to get it to the DAM, it's got to download somewhere for right now. Yep. So for me, I'm like, okay, I want to download it. And for right now, where it's got to live is going to be within like my Google Drive. So I go to the podcast, I choose which show, let's say it's Forward to Extraordinary. I have all the guests here. I choose the guests that I want. I upload that, I download whatever that is. In this case, it's a short to the short folder. Done. That's my workflow. What I really want to be able to do is just like Dropbox has a shortcut here, just like Google Drive has a shortcut here. Can our DAM have a shortcut here so I could download straight from Riverside to where I want the destination to go? And then
that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
So I love that because that's convenient. And then part of our DAM, we'll show it in a second. If I go back to the file, let's just get all the way into it.
Those are off your computer.
Those are off my computer. You can see them grayed out right now for sure. But when they are online, I should be able to see like this folder structure, right? Like this taxonomy of this folder structure. I should be able to see that. And I'm wondering for our product, let me get out of this. For our product, can I simply, for these paths, can that just pull from my clean folder structure?
That was the general idea. That's what I was telling you this morning is what I was considering. The only thing that I start to think about is, yeah, well, the point is, yes, that can happen. The question I have is, when does it offload off your computer? Because that's kind of like we basically want to make sure it fully uploads to the DAM, and then we remove it from your computer, because obviously a terabyte of stuff is going to get, and at what point do you do that? Like, I don't know what Google Drive's algorithm for. Is it like if it hasn't been accessed for a certain period of time? We could come up with that, though, is my point. We could come up with that ourselves. And do you want private or public? I think you start with private, and then and then how do we handle transcript, which then that gets back to, do we just generate the transcript, or it could be that the transcript comes in the video file from Riverside. I have to look into exactly how that works, because this is a little bit of new ground. I haven't done a ton of media products like this. Point is, it's all possible. I think that to avoid the premium tier of Riverside, which I can tell already is not going to be something we want to pay for, I would rather do this. Desktop application, you'll stop using Google Drive. The Google Drive problem, basically you'll just do these in batches, but I wanted to show you that you might just be able to do this. You can also do something like this right now. So if you choose files, let's just we could walk through that flow. And then I wanted to see if Claude would just do this process over and over and over again.
Yeah, it definitely can. I mean, well, I don't know if it definitely can, but we're definitely going to try. You're definitely going to try.
And again, we might run into things where something is too large. So it might be nice to have the desktop app, because then I could issue warnings where it's this was too big, or this timed out, or something, and then it offloads it from your computer. And what I'm thinking about though is, instead of Google Drive, where you actually have to, you can do all those things in your computer. I'm once it's uploaded to the DAM, do you ever really need to bring it? You could just copy the link then, you know what I mean? Or you could just give the link to anyone and they can download it.
Well, I could also download it if I needed to send it an actual attachment on an email. Is really the only reason why I would need it on the local machine again. But otherwise, yeah, my current workflow is sending links to Google Drive documents.
I'm also don't even send it as an attachment. Just go in and grab the link and say here, go here. And you can then make it public for you didn't check those things out where you can do it. I'll show those features too. But let's do the upload and then we could see how it goes.
So here's, so I also asked just for user experience and approval stuff. I want to be able to maybe drag and drop.
Okay.
Choose file, drag and drop, just a little feedback. So I can either upload the assets here on the top right, or I can choose the files here, right? I have that correct?
No. If the upload, open that uploader. So now that's open. Upload assets, right? You're in the upload assets thing. If you close that.
Yeah. If I just go somewhere else, right? I go to upload assets and then I have to choose the file, right?
Files.
That's your workflow. Okay.
That's your workflow. Choose files.
So I'll go to my podcast. Let's drill down. We'll go to Photo Extraordinary. We'll go choose the latest of episodes. And so I have episode thumbnail, Jerry's headshot. I have the full MP4 final episode, 1.4 gigabytes. We're rarely going to be above 5 gigabytes. I think that was the right move for files.
That was, I was I could do bigger, but I don't think so. Well, so grab those.
So I can grab these 3, but you're saying I can't grab the folder yet.
Well, you are grabbing the folder. That's the shorts. You'll have to do that separate.
That's what I'm saying.
So do those 3, open, and then upload again. Add more files. You're not going to do this shorts folder because it's not going to make sense in the DAM. Now, you just leave it all in one group. Now go to tag paths.
Yeah.
Do podcast. Well, you could hit tab. Yep. Stand up, or you could do what do you want?
Let's just do forward to extraordinary. I'll just abbreviate it.
And then, and you could put spaces too. So you could do Jerry, but do it, how you want it. And do you want it private or public?
What is
public? Will allow Content Studio to fetch more easily.
So then, we want it to be public.
Because you're right. This is, and then so upload. They're all going to have obfuscated links. So, but it's just. Let's see, because I haven't tried 11 big assets. One of the, they're all under the right amount.
So upload it.
It's uploading. It's working.
Yeah.
It's uploading them and it's generating posters for them. So those are the 2 things that you have is the video, and then we generate the poster image so that they'll all have a poster image.
Okay, so while this is working, maybe some type of is this working? I see uploading originals, but maybe
it's working. It'll tell you
something. But we also have, remember, here in Riverside, my current workflow is I'm just copying out the transcript here at the bottom. I'm just copying the transcript. But I could easily download
the transcript, because is it a TXT? There is a special kind of transcript file, an SRT. I forget what it was called, but I did it in my research.
SRT is a subtitle file.
There is a special, well, let's see what the text file is. But there is a special type of transcript file because it was when I was building this, one of the things I was researching was if you had multiple languages, we could do the transcript in different languages and it would timestamp and sync up. So you could do like a subtitle file is exactly right. But either way, you could do the TXT file and we can
too. This SRT file.
That's the one. We might want to just do the SRT file.
I'm not sure which one is
I haven't tried the SRT.
We can just try it just to have it.
I think the SRT file is the one. I have not tried this yet because I didn't know. So this is like a good test because I haven't tried this part yet.
So I could add more files. I'll just add those two files, I assume.
No, you're not going to add those 2 files. Those have to go. See, those have to get. This is the other complexity. Even if I build you this desktop environment, how do I associate the SRT file to the video? So this is where it kind of makes some sense to do on your own.
Like this nesting and tagging, like it's in this file. Like I'm looking at this as a folder under Forward to Extraordinary, under a parent folder of podcasts. Like that transcript should correlate to this folder is how I'm thinking about the tag structure.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like if I upload those transcripts and I put them in this nesting structure, like they're part of this episode for sure.
No, but it doesn't know what the episode is. You got a whole bunch of MP4s. All of your little shorts have an SRT file too.
In theory, yeah. I don't know if I could download like that, but in theory, yes. See, when I download, I can't download the transcript or subtitle file for each little clip. It's a limitation of Riverside. But if I ran each little clip through a transcript tool, yes, for sure.
I'm checking now just to see like
the large, the big transcript is really kind of what we need. The big transcript is what gives context to like the rest of the conversation. If I was trying to make a post and I only have a transcript for a 50-second short, is that like enough? It probably always needs the large transcript with timestamps. These are linear. It's 50 seconds.
Well, no, any video should have that. Like this video, when you should have its own SRT. I have to look into, is SRT embedded into the video?
Look, it took a while, but these are also starting to land here.
They are landing.
Yeah, it just takes a while. Something.
Well, yeah, because you just did. Okay, so it's where I was just checking the server to see if they're
almost
working.
2 gigabytes of files in one shot, so let it go.
So this is what I was saying is we may need to beef up the server for this is another good reason this exercise is good. I may want our DAM to run with more RAM. Like I have it on a small server now because I didn't know what was going to happen, but we may want to increase the RAM and scale up the machine. So yeah, I mean, I may just do that.
Just for time scale of the human. Let's just say I wasn't going to have the agent do this. The agent is also going to just sit here and time out and wait for all of this to happen. If I had to do this manually, we have over 300 episodes. Like, how long is this taking end to end right now? Let's call it 6 minutes per upload at 2 gigabytes. I got that times 300. It's like not.
That's where I say,
more.
So that's likely because I just need to increase the size of the machine.
Now, also, could you put this in like, this is a batch, and then I can like upload another batch, and I just keep moving through the user interface, but like don't have to wait. I'll come back tomorrow when the upload is done.
You can so it depends on where the bottleneck is. I don't know if the bottleneck is from your machine to us, right? So like, I don't know how long it took for that these are things that I'm looking at in the server now. You uploaded those files. They all streamed from your machine off over your network. Your network is notoriously bad. So it could be that the machine is fine. This is where I'm diagnosing the problem. It could be the machine is fine in size. It just took a while for all the videos to go from your machine to the server. And now the server's generating all of the thumbnails. So here's what was found. App is healthy. Health checks passing. Direct loads are completed. Recent assets, 12. Recent unattached blobs, 0. So you didn't no attached blobs. The large video blob exists and is attaching, right? So yeah, size, about what we said, 1.4 gigabytes attached. Current bottleneck is background processing. Yeah. Is in media processing status, right? Its video poster job is currently claimed running by the media worker. There are 8 other videos queued as pending. So that's really what it is. I'm generating these posters. We could skip things like that. Like we could just not do that and just show every video like 5 seconds in. But I was like, oh, it would be nice to have the thumbnail for every video. So that could be the thing. Now, here's what I would ask is, what I'm going to look into is, I'm okay beefing up the machine a little. Dude, I think I put this on a 1 gigabyte, like a very tiny fly machine. I'm like, if that's the bottleneck, it definitely streamed in, it got it, the background processing taking time. I'm happy to just scale the machine up. Probably not RAM first. So this is a good thing to do, right? Current life size is 1 shared CPU, 1 gigabyte of RAM. So we have a worker pool size of 1. So these are all right. So it's doing 1 at a time. And so it's likely CPU heavy. That's our biggest, we need more CPU if this becomes common, which it's going to be. And so I like this idea, the recommendation is dedicated media worker with 2 gigabytes of RAM and 1 to 2 CPUs. So I put it onto, the smallest machine.
So I also see like your foldering structure on the left side, the tagging. Like, how did you make what do you call this? Like a parent tag for the podcast?
It just follows like the slashes that you did. So one of the things is I wanted it to feel very free, right?
Is it a double slash to nest? Like what I ideally want is podcast as a parent folder, or a grandparent folder, a parent folder for each show, and then child folders for each guest.
You want that in theory, but not in reality. Because here's the thing.
I want that to stay organized.
I want to be able to, you are organized. I want to be able to see all forward to extraordinary, regardless of guest. This allows that.
Sure.
I also want to be able to drill into Jerry Ballantyne.
Yeah, sure.
If I need that. So what I went with was a tag system, because when it came to like API querying, I'm like, no, you're not going to know which guest. I want you to be able to query all of CTO Confidential, or I want you to go and find Ben's episode on CTO Confidential and drill in. So this is not a traditional folder structure in the sense that this is a little bit more modeled after how Cloudinary works, which is, and then the other thing is I want video to be able to exist in 2 or 3 or 4 tags. So it could be in podcast FTE or podcast strictly from nowhere at the same time without duplicating the asset. So this allows for more flexibility when it comes to searching.
Yeah.
My goal is that you're going to stop the behavior of clicking folders and you're just going to be like Jerry in the search file names and tags. And you're going to, like this is going to be more of your behavior. But I also could do,
I could have done other stuff, which is like higher education.
Right.
Like I could tag generally and then find all the people that I've had on the show that are in the topic of higher education.
You could also have, right, exactly right. You could have a higher education tag, but you could also have tagging for shorts. So you would have had podcast Jerry Ballantyne shorts or just podcast shorts, right? Like generally where you could like query all the shorts. So it allows you to say, I want you to query all of the shorts from Forward to Extraordinary, or all of the shorts. So this is the makings of where I wanted structured data, because even though you have MCP, it's not magic, right? It's going like if we had better data, folder structuring only allows you one dimension. But now I can do this multidimensionally, and I could say, you know what? This is all the shorts of all CTO Confidential. This is all the shorts for this guest in CTO Confidential.
Right. Or on
you would
topic,
tag these
across guests.
Or just shorts, right? Like you might just do a podcast shorts, but now I could combine tags. So you don't necessarily need to think too much into folder structure. Again, we allow you to structure, but now you can see the thumbnails are coming through.
So if I wanted to like in the future, I'll do some better grooming, which is more like keyword seeding for like what that episode might have. Eventually I'll have like related episodes, like maybe it's on the topic of like real estate.
This is the thumbnail, actually. We're still waiting on your video.
Yeah, we are. If I wanted to edit tags, I do that at the individual asset level, correct? Like I got to click on the asset and here on the right-hand side, I'm editing tags. That's right. That's like what you expected. I can't like add tags on this like global pane here.
What? You cut out there.
Sick. Good times. Literally can't use the web.
Sorry, those are not the poster images. Those are the.
All right, well, let's do this. I'm going to stop sharing.
Yeah. I'm gonna scale the machine up like right now.
Yeah, cool. Let it go. We'll continue to use it. We just went for like 38 minutes on this one project alone. Let's. Do you want to talk about something else?
Yeah, we could do a few other things. So this was good. That we kind of know what we want.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is generally the beginning. And like, I know what your workflow is. I think my point is you can't have your cake and eat it too. Your workflow doesn't allow for search. This workflow, if you follow it, will allow for better searchability of our content. Sure. And though we might have some pain right now, you will appreciate the fact that it was more organized and more queryable, because when we're sitting here 5 years from now, being like, man, when did we have that person on last? I know I talked about that thing with somebody.
It happens to me all the time.
So that's the goal. And I did just scale the machine up. So
this is also like, I know you hate the topic, but you know that I have been very curious on the topic of clipping, like asynchronous, nonlinear stitching together of content. This is our path
to be clear, I don't hate clipping. I like the idea of clipping my own content. I don't like the idea of me stealing a bunch of sports clips of other famous people, getting followers because of it, and then saying, hey, look at how awesome I am. I don't need, that's kind of the thing.
I want my own content, right? Like I have like hundreds of episodes, dozens of hours on one topic.
It would be cool too if we could. This is my future thought for the dam, is like a very, very easy workflow for you to be able to be like this point, smush them together, turn them into one video. So like I do have a vision for this that goes beyond. Yeah, I have other things to share that I think one of them is the future of UnLoom, called OmaLoom, and I don't know how it's going to work with Riverside running at the same time, but we'll see. I have it, because it's like this is using my audio, but let's just see what happens. And I could just share it and see, and we'll see what happens.
So for context, we made UnLoom quite some time ago, maybe at the beginning of this year, on a different show called SaaS Killers underneath Strictly From Nowhere. And the goal was we were using Loom, loom.com, the screen recording tool, business screen recording tool. And we were like, hey, we could just replace that. So we did, and we call it UnLoom. And recently you were like, hey, I want to iterate on UnLoom and make it more free, let it do more things than what UnLoom was doing, which is just a screen recorder in the browser, saves to your local machine, kind of same premise as Loom, just kind of detached from the brand. So what's the difference between OmaLoom? How'd you evolve that?
Yeah, so Omarchy Quattro came out, and it allows for a plugin system with part of the operating system called Quick Shell. The general idea is now I can have this be native to the OS instead of it being
hotkeyable.
And I could make it hotkey. I did not add a hotkey. I just kind of made it an icon, open OmaLoom.
Okay.
And
cool.
So you could kind of see right here that it's pulling. What's funny is I think this is like one of the things that's not going to work for the demo, because my camera is being occupied by Riverside. But you can see I can like position the camera.
Do you have another camera? Do you have a second camera?
I don't have a second camera on this. You're right. I could if my camera, I only have.
If you're on the Mac operating system, you could use your phone. Just saying.
Yes, but I couldn't do this. So if I was on the Mac operating system, I couldn't build this. I reference a folder, Home M Dropbox OmaLoom videos, because Dropbox automatically gives me share links and all the cool stuff. So I've done a bunch of recordings here And I have this. I could actually just turn off the webcam overlay. So now it's just this and then the current monitor full screen, or I could make it selectable. The webcam overlay will probably just show up. Like you could choose the position. I could choose if I wanted small or medium. I'm going to try and start a recording and just see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
What I do when I start recording is I can select an area, or I could have done full screen. So the cool thing about when you select an area is it just kind of selects the area and then it does the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If my camera was working, it would show up in the right spot. Right now it's not, but you could see it's recording in the top here. And so I'm kind of making a recording. I could drag things in and out of this frame so you could see. So if you're one of the people who has like a huge monitor, this is what you could do. And again, if I had the camera not being occupied by Riverside, it would show up in the corner that I chose for it to show up in. And then I can, of course, stop the recording. And then it saves it, and I can open it, and I can watch it.
Sick.
It's speaking to me. I hear double click, So, and then if I go back in here, I can see my new recording here, and I can open, reveal. If I open it, it'll just show it. So this is kind of the idea. This is available. It's open source. I'm trying to publish it on the Omarchy plugin store. So you'll just be able to use it from Git. So if I go into GitHub, you'll be able to see where did I, let's see where I put it. This is not it. Let's go here. OmaLoom. And you can see it here. The installation is pretty easy. Omarchy plugin add, enable. And that's all you need to do. And it's good to go. And you can see here, this is what it looks like when my camera is not being occupied by Riverside. Yeah, I suppose I could add like a little nicety that says like camera currently occupied by another application, but I don't know if I'm ever going to want to meta record ever again. So I don't know if I care whether that's a thing that needs to be done. So that's the first tool that is now released, and I really like it because I can just kind of let it, now it's just native to the OS. I can add it to my laptop. And I don't have to worry about like the web application version, and it runs on all the native hardware stuff. So it's a little bit better, I think. The other thing that I could show is Skill Deck, which is the other piece that I think is kind of cool. I wanted to do a demo of that. So for managing skills on your different projects. And so we could talk about that too, unless you have more questions about OmaLoom before we move on.
No. I mean, I'm jealous I can't just have it on my machine. I have Mac has its own screen recording function, and I have OmaLoom and Loom and every other screen recording tool on the planet, but can't have this one. So
yeah, it's easier to build plugins for Omarchy. So for people who are looking, it's a different experience. Like I was able to just build it. It's actually built with Python, which I thought was kind of funny because I'm normally not a Python person, but I was using an agent to help me build it, and it was writing Python, but I was so focused on getting that user experience that I wanted correct that then it was like, oh, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll review and keep it in Python. It's good. But you can't, it's harder to do this. I suppose that there's ways to do it on Mac. I'm just like not interested in moving back to Apple.
Wouldn't worry about it, dude. I wouldn't worry about it. The way it's all going, I'll be moving to Linux anyway, so who cares?
Yes, that's right. Everybody.
Linux for non-technicals. Linux for non-technicals. Write the book on it. Now let's take a look at the skills deck. I think that's probably appropriate and kind of gets us back to business. The OmaLoom tool is really a little bit self-serving, even though like maybe it'll be for customers or whatever. The skill deck is really for our agency.
Yeah, I mean, the OmaLoom is because I send videos to customers all the time. Constantly. There is like a video record with Omarchy, but it didn't do the microphone and the camera at the same time. So what was happening was I'd have to you'd record the video and then maybe you'd record your voice, and then like people are like, oh, use OBS Studio. I opened OBS Studio. I was like, this is just too much for me. Like I just wanted to make a screen recording of a thing I built for somebody. I wanted the Loom experience, but I don't want to pay Loom any more money. I just wanted to have these go to my Dropbox, which I'm already paying for, and just there it is. I get share links, sync, all that stuff. I don't really care about the analytics about who's watching the video. It's really for me sharing stuff with customers.
And what was the difference between OmaLoom, which is in the browser, It's kind of the same scenario. What's the difference between unloom that we built and OmaLoom, except for the operating system?
Honestly, they work almost exactly the same. Unloom is using all of Chrome, and actually, like, I can go in here, and I still have Unloom on my machine. You can see,
Right.
I pointed it. It's the same exact situation, you know. Like, and it's funny that Unloom, I think, uses a different pathway to the screen, the actual my webcam. So I'm actually going to look into this after we get off, because I think that there's probably a way, now that I see it, that I can do
Press
this.
record. Does it work? Press record. Oh, you are recording.
Yeah, it'll work. It'll work.
Do it with the camera. There you go.
What? Wait, it doesn't. You know what the thing is? This doesn't. So there's a few things this doesn't do. It doesn't like bring the little square into your screen. It doesn't let you select actually, I could probably select. Oh yeah, I could select region. So that's kind of baked in. So it does almost all the same things. Oh, I didn't want to leave site. But that's, yeah, like I guess I could select a region and do that and then share it. Recording. Stop recording. Yeah, it does. So actually, that's actually kind of it's cool that I have this little thing. This one, it records unloom videos. But you know what it didn't do? It didn't do the region. It didn't actually record the region that was selected. So the fact that it's native is just a little bit. What's nice about it is this is just like a web application that Omarchy allows. This that allows you to do this, that makes it like not have the browser bar and all your tabs and all that. So it's kind of nice to have something like this. But what's cool is OmaLoom is just baked. You know, it just shows up in the toolbar. It's kind of like into the native shell, which I really liked.
It's also like first contribution to Omarchy plugin marketplace.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've never done them before. So it was really just, it was a plugin that I knew I wanted.
Yeah.
But very clearly I can fix some of this stuff up. The camera that, you know, because I want to clean that up, because because it worked at this, unless there's another path, I have to look into it. I'm actually not 100% sure. So I'll figure out that piece, but without Riverside working right before this, it worked. So that's the long and the short of it.
So let's talk about Skills Deck, which I wish was called Mad Skills, but someone else can fucking use it. Let's talk about what Skill Deck is, and why did you feel you needed to create that?
Yeah, so Skill Deck is something. So if you guys have a lot of skill files on your computer to work with your agents, you'll know that they store at the global level. They either store in .Claude if you're a Claude person, they store in .agents if you're everybody else, and then you could do .py. Everyone has a vendored version, .py, .codex, but most everyone except for Claude and Anthropic has centered around the .agent standard. But you install them globally, and the description of your skills is what will trigger an agent to use that skill. And so I have a whole bunch of skills on my machine, but I work on 10 different projects. I have a bunch of people know I have Ruby on Rails projects, but now I have Next.js projects. I have Rust projects. I have some Rescript React projects. I've got some plain TypeScript React projects. I've got projects in all sorts of languages and all sorts of tech stacks, because we work on a lot of different stuff. And I build skills around those, but I also use other people's skills. Something that I've started to do is I find people who are maybe thought leaders in a given language or framework, especially when we come into it, and I look at their public skills files. One of my favorites is Layered Rails, which is based on the book right behind me. And I use that all the time. But I don't necessarily need Layered Rails all the time. And I don't necessarily need that description loading into context for a project that's just not built in Rails at all. And then the other side of this was I've increasingly started to feel like when we build projects now for customers, the software factory needs to come with the project. Meaning that the skills that I'm using to help build, check, and review your project are now the property of you. When I hand the project over to you, most of our customers, I'm doing a good job, stick with us, but I want you to be able to have that. The other piece of it is I may build a skill that I don't want to share publicly. Vercel has a skills registry, but sometimes we build skills for customers now and their code bases that include proprietary knowledge that needs to be private. And you could get into the space of, well, I'm going to pay, like NPM allows you to have private packages as long as you pay their monthly fee. And I guess Vercel could allow a monthly fee to have private packages, but not all skills files are meant to be public in our world. So what is Skill Deck? It allows you to host your own Git repo that serves as your own private package registry for you, your customers, your business. So we have a private package registry, and I'll show it here in Git. I'll open a little new tab here, and we call it Agent Skills. I can share this because there's no client stuff in here, but this is the anatomy of a skill deck repository. These are skills that I use. One of them is for our project management software called Fin. The other is I have object-oriented design, right? Rails feature review, Rails project review, React feature review, React project review, React. So I added a couple in here, right? These are just skills that are standard. Folder, skill.md folder, right? Then I can say, skill deck install Rails feature review. And then what folder I want to install it in. I have taken to installing these right in the project repository, but I could store it globally if I want it to be globally. For example, Fin, I like to install globally on my machine because all of our projects use Fin. So that's important that every single agent knows how to use that. I do also, but I don't necessarily, if a customer was sort of to take this, they may not want the Fin skill with their project. It's more like, hey, if I've been using object-oriented design and Rails feature review as a part of the prompts, because I do also give prompt templates / commands to our customers with their code bases also now. So you could literally run the factory after we hand it over to you. You also have all the skills that are referenced in those prompts. So you do skill deck install a given skill. Another little nice thing that I added was skill groups, which are defined in TOML. So now I could, for a Rails project, I could do skill deck install group Rails, and it'll bring in all of these skills. The other cool thing is I could do skill deck update, and it'll update all of the skills in the skills folder, wherever I've specified it to be. And so that allows me to keep these up to date, and it uses the GitHub URL as the package registry. And I took the inspiration from Go and Deno, where I don't want to have to host a package registry, blah, blah, blah. A package registry is an agent skills repository with a skill groups.toml, a skills folder with your skills organized, which people are already doing. This can be public too, if you wanted to host them. And then the part that I really like, the external skills.toml, which is, hey, I like this Daisy UI skill. I have no idea when they update it. They host it here. This is the skill that spurned me to do this too, because I want to give you guys a quick read of this skill, and I'll show you why. Let me zoom it in. Official Daisy UI component library skill. When you write HTML or JSX code, you must use it even if the user does not request it. That little piece of text right there was causing Daisy UI to get pulled into every project, even if it didn't use Daisy UI, because I had it at the top level, which sort of triggered me to say, hey, skills should live in the repositories they're used in. And that's it. And then when I do, now here's the cool thing. When somebody gets the repository, they get it, they can run skill deck update. It will pull the latest version of this from the URL. We don't know if it changed or not, but it'll just say, hey, I'm just refreshing, removing the old, pulling in the new. And then what's cool about this also, though, is if the skill is in a Git repo, you could pin it to a ref. So I could say, hey, I've been using layered Rails, pin to this ref always. So even if layered Rails now updates, it's not going to necessarily, I could pin it to the to a specific commit hash. So I could say, hey, I don't want to keep going. You know what I mean? Just like I want to be able to pull. But if you leave the ref out, which is what I'm going to do for this, I wanted to show this for the example, it'll just always take from the head, main. So the main branch, it'll always just pull from there. But again, the skill is called layered Rails. So I can skill deck install layered Rails, and it will pull from this Git repo and this subdirectory, because people store their skills like the Wild West. So I don't know exactly where your skills are going to be in a given repo. So I wanted it to be like, hey, you choose the source, you choose the subdirectory, and then you can choose the ref or not, or leave the ref out and it'll pull, or the source could be a URL. But effectively, this creates a very nice package manager for skills that we can use to keep our skills up to date, to install them in specific locations. So if another developer wants these to be installed, but they want them in their .claude folder, they can use skill deck to install the skills and point it at that .claude folder and do that. So if you do, there's a bootstrap command that will actually bootstrap your first repository, just like this. It'll bootstrap a Git repository and it'll create the skills folder. There's like a demo version of it and get you all set to go. To install it, it is a Rust package. So for Linux and Mac OS, use this curl command. If you're on Windows PowerShell, use the IRM command. Haven't tested the Windows version, unfortunately, but that's it should work, is my point. It's not a very complicated thing. This is the skill deck init, right? So when you can point it to your agent skills repository. There's a doctor command. There's a skill deck upgrade command. So when I update this package, because I used update to talk about the packages themselves, just upgrade skill deck for you. So you can do an install, what we just talked about, install groups. There's interactive shell commands too. So these are just saying, hey, I want you to update no matter what. Skill deck install, skill deck update. You guys can see, you can even remove. So if I say, hey, we're no longer using it, it removes it. It also stores a skill deck directory with a lock file. So it remembers where it last installed from. And if things are out of date. And so you can just kind of take a look at the README and it'll keep you good to go. But this is basically what we're using now, is skill deck with agent skills is our skill deck repository. And again, just kind of give yourself a kind of look, these are those skill deck bootstrap commands. It's all in the README, how to use this. But I think it's really very valuable, because for me, I needed a way to manage these things across 10 different projects that all might be using different skills. And I'm constantly pulling skills from all over the internet from different things. And I want to version them. I want to look out for prompt injections. So there is going to be some things coming to skill deck that I think are going to be helpful, because if you are pulling external skills and those parts aren't necessarily, the content of them isn't necessarily reviewed as a part of your skill repository, I do want to add things that will kind of look and help you analyze if there are prompt injection issues, conflicts, things like that. So there's more that's going to come to skill deck, but the basics are here for now.
Any questions? Leave them in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Leave them in the comments. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Maybe in the next episode, we're running too long for this one, but in the next episode, maybe I'll just take it back to soft skills. I've made a bunch of shit that I think are just valuable for businesses as they're running their client services and project management motion. And maybe I'll just do some show and tell in the next episode. Maybe we'll record on Monday or something like that. But this was largely technical. It's going to be for a specific technical audience. I think the DAM is really cool. I wish I could see how is Gary Vaynerchuk's team functioning without a DAM, or are they using a proprietary one? Somebody with mass content, are they doing what we're doing? It's really.
It looks like your image is all processed too, by the way, in the DAM. I just checked. Scaling the machine up was the answer. I put it onto a small machine. We will keep it scaled up because fuck it.
I just had to hit refresh, but yeah, they're for sure all in here. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the machine's a little small for the job that we did. If we need more, but this is the beauty, dude. I could boost this machine real big for a period of time while we upload everything.
Totally.
We're in control.
Totally. Kind of cool. Yeah, kind of cool. All right, dude. Thanks for a good episode. Check you later.
Catch you later.
Peace.